Hello, everyone. It is the Mindset Spot where we discuss solutions to turn challenges to opportunities. And today, our focus is going to be on how do we harness the power of content creators to drive solutions. Because let's face it, we live in an era in which the reality of how harnessing the power of content creators to be able to turn challenges into opportunities is what we need to know. Because let's understand that the incredible power of content creators is such that if we can be able to leverage them, we can transform challenges into opportunities. And I'm joined today by my co-host Daniel Afumbom Nang to discuss this very important topic. Daniel, how are you?
I'm great. It's glad to be back, and this episode seems especially exciting with our topic of harnessing the power of content creators to device solutions.
Excellent, Afu. Yeah, let's get straight to the business of the day. The understanding is that if you look at the entire global population, which is over 8.3 billion as we speak today, and the entire African continent population is over 1.4 billion, of which over 70% of the population is under the age of 30. But when you go to the social media space, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., most of the people you will find in this space on this road are young people. And most of them create content about every issue from cooking to sports to gossip to entertainment and etc. So we do then understand that content creators are the modern storytellers. So if they are the modern storytellers, then they definitely have the unique ability to capture attention and spread messages across the globe instantly. And so this makes them pivotal in shaping how we see the world and react to it. So the first question then becomes, do we as a global community and as an African continent, have we tapped into harnessing the content creators' abilities to drive solutions, or they are just in this space going like any other person? What's your take?
Well, I think you bring up a good point because they do, in fact, have a storytelling ability. And I feel like a lot of them aren't necessarily using that to talk about societal issues. And if they do, it's in a way that is not as empowering as it can be. So I believe that if we shift towards speaking solutions and blogging and creating content towards solutions rather than problems, then we'll be able to drive more solutions. However, that seems to not be the case in today's society.
Yeah, that seems not to be the case in today's society. It therefore means that the fact that the content creators are storytellers and within a second they can be able to spread messages, there seems to be an aspect that I would like us to discuss, which is first of all, understanding that by inspiring content creators to focus on the positive and impactful stories, we can influence public perception, and at the same time encourage action towards social and environmental issues. But what seems to pick up very fast, and we've discussed this before, is negative news. And everybody, when there is a problem or a challenge, instead of putting down the phone to help solve or rescue a life, the competition is who brings the news first. And therefore, instead of putting down the phone is held to take the images to spread the negative news. Do you think that content creators, because of the fact that they will get more likes and more shares with negative news, are focusing on instead driving negativity rather than positivity? And if so, how do we help them to start driving positivity?
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with the fact that I think negative problems are being pushed because more likes and views, and unfortunately, that's just the way the algorithm works because more people like to see wrong things happening than right. However, what I do think we can do is shift solutions, and a lot of people refrain from solutions because it won't make them as much money. But realistically, people put money to a place where they're going to receive value. So when you're providing value, not only through producing negative things, then you'll also receive compensation. And it doesn't only have to be financial compensation, also intellectual compensation as well. And people knowing you as, wow, this person spreads ideas rather than this person posting a grandma falling in the village.
I think you brought up two important parts. You brought up value and you brought up incentives and also appreciation, which is not necessarily financial. So that then means that the fact that people chase money forget their values, and sometimes lose their integrity in the process. Whereas long-term payment of excellent ability to be able to do what is needed in the long term that builds gravitas is what is more important. So the question then becomes, are content creators understanding the implications of what they do today? And how do we make them to do what can save them in the future? Let's focus on the positive, because I have argued that you do not change wrongdoing by blaming people. You change wrongdoing by showcasing how it can be done in the right way. What are the right steps content creators can take? Because they're important. They're storytellers. They can pass information instantly, meaning a solution showcased to them can actually be brought to the fore and impact to scale can happen. Please, step by step, proceed.
Yeah, so every episode we tend to talk about the same thing, and those who are frequent viewers should know that we talk about digital footprint. And I think the first step to this is understanding the effects of digital footprint. For example, if you post a bunch of negative stuff, let's say a brand wants to work with you, they're gonna be like, "Oh, this person only posts negativity. I'm not going to be as inclined to work with them." However, a solution-based profile or solution-based post can change that. And digital footprint really states that even if you're posting what today, even if you're posting things today and it's getting likes, in the future, it may not. Even if you're posting. So I do think that moving forward, some steps that these influencers can take is to, number one, start by building themselves, start by developing a passion, start by developing a skill. And from that, then they'll be able to communicate that. Let's say they're into science, they can start science communication, talking about ways that they can mitigate the effects of climate change, start talking about antimicrobial resistance, start talking about, even for example, even if you're interested in fashion, you can be showing your outfits, but also showing I got this from this sustainable vendor. You guys can start supporting this vendor because they use technologies that use less water for my denim rather than the traditional way. So it doesn't necessarily matter what you're interested in as long as it's positive and it's creating change. So change begins right here. Change, you don't need to go on a whole protest across the world. Change begins from your passion, and change begins from solving problems and creating ways to benefit society.
Yes, we were speaking at the time, and you could see from viewers who are saying, what are the right terms? Because the reality is that there seems to be no school of social media. People learn on the job. And what I mean by people learn on the job is with a smartphone, you create an account on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and all you do is follow orders and write anything without any censorship or any legislative rules to follow or to be punished. It therefore means learning on the job, people go through a lot of errors that they leave their footprint in such a way that it will come back to haunt them in the future. So, as Tabi said, what are the right terms?
Yeah, so I think the right terms, like you've eloquently mentioned, there is no school of social media. Like Harvard doesn't have faculty of social media, that doesn't exist. So, from a practical perspective, I think the right terms, it just happens with your conscience and understanding what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And just because something can give you a lot of views, that does not mean that you should compromise your morals and values to attain such views. Because realistically, the views are not tangible, right? But solutions, they are tangible. So the terms that I would say, if we should shift to more tangible thing rather than just views, because at the end of the day, views will come and go, but the solution and the thing that you're advocating for can really make change.
Excellent. That's a very important point you brought up. And for those of you who are joining in today, we're discussing content creators because they are more than just entertainers. They are the architects of public discourse. And with the tools of social media at their disposal, they are reaching vast audiences and they are making their role crucial in shaping societal norms and values. But the question then becomes, how can we harness content creators to drive solutions? And what myself and my co-host Daniela from Munang are discussing, we are saying we can engage content creators in initiatives that matter by aligning their creative talents with campaigns that promote sustainability, social justice, and innovations. And by doing so, they will become champions of change, positive change for that matter, using the platforms to broadcast transformative ideas and solutions. Anafu, back to you again. On the aspect that you've mentioned, it now, as we get into the middle of this and start running up before you take over, the monetization of social media platforms seems to have weaponized the narrative of negativity rather than the narrative of positivity. What again can you state clearly of the repercussions that needs to be put in place, the repercussions and what needs to be put in place to ensure that we have some sanity in this space, which seems to be becoming very toxic?
Yeah, it is becoming really toxic indeed. And I think that repercussions are a good way. However, social media, freedom of speech. But the thing is, with the term freedom of speech, yes, you can say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean that the effects will be the way you want it to be, right? And even with advocacy as well, you can still be advocate, you can still be an advocate and be respectful. Being an advocate doesn't mean that you have to necessarily tear the other side down. And in a world full of injustices, I feel like a lot of people get caught up with that. Similarly, people just flat out spread negativity. If they see someone successful, instead of being like, wow, how can I be like you, they're gonna be like, oh, are they even this? Are you sure it's even true? Is it a hoax? Like, so we need to start by changing our mindset. I don't necessarily think repercussions, because social media is an international space and we can't really have an
Right.
international governing body of who said this, who says that. That won't work. But I think by us changing our mindset to uplift others rather than bring them down, spread ideas rather than to spread problems, and to spread kindness rather than to spread hate, then we won't need these repercussions, and then we'll start moving with our moral rather than with money, rather than with views. We'll start moving with our values rather than what will get us the most views. And that's what I think can be done to change this space, which is becoming, as you said, incredibly toxic.
Very important point. You've talked about an aspect that I think I need to portray, which is the social media space is an international space. And anytime you open your mouth or type anything, you actually telling the world who you are. And let me repeat that. Anytime you put in anything in your social media space, you are telling the world who you are. What does that mean? Tell the world who you are from a positive side of things, because value attracts value. Negativity dispel. Positive energy attracts and negative energy repel. And therefore, do you want to attract people to come towards you? Because the reality is that the world we live in today can only be much better and can help you to succeed when you build a coalition of like-minded people. Let me tell you, negative energy dissuades, positive energy transform. Do you want to be the transformer of ideas into solutions and bring people who are closer to you? That's the question of the day. But as we run up, for those of you who are joining in, together with my co-host Daniela Fumbomunang, we are discussing how we can be able to harness the power of content creators who play a very important role, how we can leverage them to turn challenges to opportunities. Because challenges, especially in contexts like environmental and social issues, are often daunting. However, content creators across the entire world, in the African continent more so, have the unique ability to dissect these complex problems and present them in ways that are understandably and engaging the society, which not only informs but also inspire action. So the question I for now is, why is it important? I know you've answered this, but I just want to bring this. Why is it important to focus on positive messaging on social media, which is not the norm as we speak today? Your take as you take over.
Yeah, so positive, thank you for the question. It's really, really important. And I don't even mind saying this 10 times because it's very profound and needs to be spread. So I do think that social media is obviously a place of freedom of speech. However, positive messages have to be the center, take the center stage, because right now that's not the case. And the reason why I say this is because positive messages uplift others. And if you uplift one person, then it becomes the chain reaction. Similarly, if you bring down one person, the cycle of negativity continues. And would we rather want a positive society or a negative one? And the answer is the positive one. So through this, and it's also important from a logistical standpoint too, from digital footprint. Realistically, you, even though you think that because you have a lot of views, you're up here, realistically, when we look at it, you'll be down here when people don't want to be associated with you because of these negative comments. So once we shift our mindset towards positivity, then more opportunity will be unleashed, because even though you're getting maybe 2 or 3 likes on your video, the 2 or 3 people who liked it will definitely be the one to share. They'll definitely be the one to continue the positivity, rather than having 2 million people like your negative one. That means that 2 million people agree with this negativity, and 2 million people are going to share this, and negativity will become the trend. So for us, even if we need to focus on value rather than views, and we need to focus on our moral rather than money. And by uplifting others and creating social media to be positive and sharing solutions, then even economic opportunity will come, because even big brands will want to be associated with you because you're spreading a message that their brands align with. Because not many brands have negative messages, but many brands have positive ones. So if you're spreading positivity, even though you may not get as much views, there'll definitely be more opportunities to come. And even if there aren't, your moral conscience will at least be fulfilled.
Now, you've mentioned a very important point. No brand wants to be associated with a toxic element.
Yeah, because it's a liability.
Absolutely. And if you want to be a liability, then continue with the negative messaging. No brand will be associated with the negative, toxic messaging from any content creator. And so, if you're a content creator, think of it this way. If you have a business or you have assets that you want to get people to market it for you, do you think with your kind of content creation, you could actually be absorbed by those businesses? So if you start to think this way, then the word negative energy will never be around you, and negative content will never be around you. Because for those of you who are joining in, we are discussing this topic because positive messaging is crucial, because it shapes the lens through which we view our world. It combats negativity and despair by showcasing stories of hope. And this is very, very important, because that is the reality in which we are supposed to live in the world. But as Afua said, branding yourself should be in such a way that brands can come to you to be able to market their story. And this is the key way that we need to move forward. So this kind of content of positivity doesn't just spread good news. It energizes people, giving them the momentum to act and believe in the possibility of a better future. And so what I want to ask you, Afu, is how can viewers themselves contribute to making a positive impact? Because those who view seems to gravitate towards negative content rather than discourage negative content. So if this discussion here today was about negativity, we will have 2,000, 5,000 people watching. But because it's about positivity, you will have a few people watching. Do you think viewers are the problem?
That's a really interesting point you brought up, because when we look at algorithms across all the social media platforms, it's AI, it's robots, right? So the more that you click negative stuff, the more that you interact with them. When you like them, you share them to your WhatsApp groups, you put them on your status, you comment on them, then that shows the algorithm that you're interested in them. So it pulls up more, right? And it shows it to more people of your demographic. So viewers are, I could arguably state that they're even more the problem than the content creators themselves, because viewers control the algorithm, and the algorithm will continue to push these negative things if more viewers want them. So what I can say to the viewers, long story short, is what you heart and what you comment on, that shows up more in your feed. So if you're shifting to watch more positive things, to watch more solution-oriented things, then it'll be pushed to similar people of your demographic. Hence, these videos, these positive videos, will be promoted more, and many more people will be able to shift their mind from negative to positive. So yes, it does rely on the viewers. And in order for this cycle of negativity to change, we need to first change what we're watching and change what we fill our social media feeds with, and change what we put into WhatsApp group chats.
Thank you very much, Afu. Wow, what an answer. And for those of you who are viewers can play a proactive role, as Afu have said, by engaging with content that matters. Because the algorithm of these aspects picks negativity more than positivity. And this can be done, first of all, don't like negative content. Don't share negative content, and don't comment on posts that increase negativity. So beyond social media, viewers can participate in making sure that they're part of community and start their own projects and inspire others, so that when they come to these spaces, they can push those positive aspects that content creators can also pick up. Engagement isn't just about passive consumption, it's about active participation. And to content creators, one of the aspects that you can do to ensure that your impact is lasting and meaningful, as I would have said, is strive for authenticity. This is very, very important. No brand will get somebody who is bringing negativity. And continuous learning to ensure that your impact is both meaningful and enduring. And this means that you should seek to understand the issues you talk about more deeply. Understand the issue. Don't just communicate information when you do not understand the issues. Collaborate with experts who know better than you. And this approach will help you build trust with your audience and ensure that your content is not only attracting attention, but also educate and inspire sustainable actions. It's not the number of followers or the number of likes that matter. It is what you do that you feel comfortable about. And so this is the kind of way that we need to move forward. So Afu, over to you.
Yeah, so before we wrap up, I do have some questions for you. As we know very well, we know that you're very active on social media to promote transformative change. And what makes you stay positive? What makes you continue to post the content that's meaningful to you? How don't you get swayed by social media trends? And how do you stay authentic? And what can you say to the viewers who are they're in a dilemma between remaining authentic and doing what everyone else is doing?
Yeah, very simple. The reality is that social media is a virtual space. And people come to this virtual space thinking that nobody is watching them. You have to be you. Simplicity. And therefore, my usage of social media is one full. What does that mean? To pass information. And that's the very information I pass in real life. So when I use this space, it's just to reach many more people. And so what has kept me to stay on message is to get my very original message to many people, to as many people as I can. And therefore, by getting that information to as many people as I can, I have to be authentic and I have to execute and exude the same values that I do in real life. But a lot of people, when they're in this space, they pretend because they want to get likes and views, which is wrong. My main message has been to pass climate action solutions, environmental solutions, to inspire young people to see opportunities in challenges and also to self-believe, because at the end of the day, it is the young people and the content creators that we do have, over 70% of them in the continent, are young people. And if they can see opportunity and we make them to think right and do right, they can actually start creating content that will build portfolios for themselves, that will then help them to leverage their spaces to communicate positivity, and that will inspire others to then usher themselves into the solution space. Imagine a content creator every day blocking about creating content about turning agricultural waste into fuel briquettes, turning agricultural waste into biogas. That is not just an opportunity for the content creator, but other young people will see opportunity and learn how to do that. That will create jobs. That will create a society where people can put more money in more pockets and food on the table. And therefore, with that belief that we can use social media as a space to communicate solutions, and we bring what in real life we do, then negativity disappears and only positivity moves forward.
Yeah, that was so excellent. I think that a lot of people will definitely relate with that, because even people I know personally, they always have that dilemma between posting what they believe in and posting what's the popular opinion. And my last question for you before you wrap up, what can you say to an aspiring content creator? What can you say to them to drive solution rather than challenge? And what can you say to the people who still think that negative news should be shared?
Very good question, Afu. And before I get to that question, let me answer Kojo here, who is saying that most times these experts do not even give us a chance to be mentor. Nobody will give you a chance to be mentor. The world is such that you have to go for what you want and push it so much so that you learn to become the best out of it. Let me repeat it again. Opportunity is not given. Opportunity is seized. And if you do not develop that ability within you, that hunger, that passion towards what you like, and go for it, read books. Actually, mentorship is everywhere. Follow pages of people who are authentic and share ideas that resonate with you, positive ideas for that matter. If you have passion for environmental science, follow environmental experts and learn how they are doing and start to develop an aspect and bring to them, and they will see that you are also doing something and you people will meet in the middle. So my underlining point is opportunity is seized. Opportunity is not given. And if you are thinking that mentors will come to mentor you as you wait for them, grass might end up growing on your feet. Back to your question, Afu, which is very, very important, is how do we guide content creators to be able to do right and at the same time to avoid negativity? The first thing is you must follow your passion. And I can tell you that there's no passion on this earth of following negativity. People follow negativity because it doesn't need a lot of thinking. Actually, negative news do not need energy to spread. Positive news needs creativity. And so to be creative, you need effort. And one of the things I've told people that everybody is talented, and each and every one of us do have passion. What is that thing that you can do without having to require money? That you get up in the morning and want to do even without having money. That means that is where your passion is. Build yourself as a content creator around an area you are passionate about. If you are passionate in sewing, focus in creating content around sewing as you build yourself to be not just an expert in sewing, but use the sewing skills to build your content. If you're a carpenter, develop content around carpentry. If you're a mechanic, develop content around mechanic. If you love cooking, develop content around cooking. Because that way you'll be doing what is authentic, what you are passionate about, and you will build something that will only enhance your skills. That way you steer off negativity. But if you want to be jumping from one aspect to another aspect, you will only end up driving negativity because you are doing, they say that if you chase 2 rabbits, you end up catching none. But he who focuses in chasing 1 rabbit will one day catch it. That is what content creators should do. You cannot be an expert on every topic. No. Focus in one area and spread positive news and build yourself, and you will end up becoming an entrepreneur because you will learn, you will read, and you start also to practice, and you will engage people who are experts in those areas, and that's how you move forward. That is the way to go, Afu.
Yeah, awesome. I think that will resonate with a lot of young viewers. And that proverb that if you try to catch 2 rabbits, you'll eventually end up catching none. Because realistically, another proverb, a rolling stone gathers no moss. You have to stay focused, lock in, and pick something that you genuinely love so that even when the days get dark, you're still able to pursue your passion. So as we wrap up, I just want to say thank you guys for viewing. And we hope this was insightful, and keep on sharing this because, like we said, negative news often gets shared more than positive news, and you guys can be the change, and you guys can start sharing positive news like this. And don't forget to follow Dr. Richard Meneng on all platforms and read the book called Mindset Change.
Yeah, thank you very much, Afu. Amazing co-host you are, and you've always been. And for those of you who joined in today, our discussion was harnessing the power of content creators because they are storytellers. They can be able to transform the entire society in a positive way. And the best we could do is to inspire them, is to support them, both morally, financially, and just with kindness. But content creators can drive positive change, and they need to do the following. Number 1, authenticity. Stay true to your values. That's what we discussed today because authenticity resonates with the audience and can build trust, which is crucial for long-term engagement and influence. The second is be accurate. Research and get the facts on your fingertips. Ensure all information that you share is accurate and well-researched. Don't just like and forward news because others are doing it. No, misinformation can quickly undermine your credibility. The third is responsibility. Become responsible because the reality is that each and every responsibility is very, very important. And the first person to be responsible for is yourself. What do I mean by this? What I mean by this is that you must recognize the impact that your content can have on your audience. So strive to promote positive behaviors and attitudes and be mindful of the potential consequence of the content you publish. The fourth aspect that we'll discuss is about engagement. Actively engage with your audience with positive messaging. Foster a community by making sure that what you spread, you ask yourself, how can what you say help to inspire others and not dissuade them? And that is very, very important. And the third aspect, the sixth aspect that we've discussed is transparency. Be open about your intentions and never ever think that you will come and bring down others because what you do will come back to haunt you one day. And therefore, share educational content. Empowering messages are important. Inspire action by highlighting actionable steps. Focus on solutions to the environmental challenges that we face every day, social issues that we face every day, and continuously improve. Always look for ways to improve both the content and its delivery. And so for all of you who have joined in today, no brand will want to take a person who is so negative. The fact that you spread negativity, you hold shows talking negativity and you have 1,000 people watching, good for you. But unfortunately, you are tainting your brand. And a brand tainted is not going to be attractive to anybody. People will want to use people who have positive energy and positive messaging. So it therefore means that we must be able to maintain positive energy. And therefore, maintaining positive energy on social media is vital for a healthy digital experience and well-being. By curating your feed, engaging constructively, and using social media for good, and practicing gratitude, and at the same time educating yourself and connecting with communities, you can transform your social media presence into a source of positivity and inspiration. That is important. So remember that as you navigate the complex landscapes of online interactions, your energy and intent controls the atmosphere around you. So make sure that yours is positive. By following these strategies, you can ensure that your time spent on social media is not only enjoyable, but also enriching and uplifting. Remember that if you chase two rabbits, you will end up catching none. Until then, it's been the Mindset Spot. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.